our half-court offense. That's probably the easiest way to do that.
Does her knee feel fine, and it's just a matter of getting in a rhythm?
Yeah. I mean, she had 32 and we lost. She had 27 and we lost. So I don't think Paige is the problem. You know, I think the danger is everyone thinking that, you know, we're going to watch Paige play, and sometimes they get caught doing that. And we need more people contributing. That's the bottom line.
You said a couple weeks ago that you were still trying to figure out how to play Paige, KK, and Nika at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
Do you like how they played together so far? Because they all started on Wednesday.
Yeah, at times it looks really good. It's kind of like the story of our team right now. You know, at times it looks really good, and at times it's a struggle. Again, Nika wants the ball in her hands. Paige likes to have the ball in her hands, and KK loves to have the ball in her hands. So something, you know, and you always want to keep your best players on the floor as much as possible, and they're three of our best players. So it's going to take a little bit of time for that to get sorted out.
Do you have a preference who has the ball in their hands?
I mean, you know, Nika had that role all of last season. I thought she handled it really, really well. You know, you take the outlet pass, you run down, you throw it to Lou or AZ, and you jump up and down because you got 13 assists. You know, so got to find a way to, you know, combine that with KK likes to attack the basket. So we just gotta figure it out. And so far we haven't figured it out. And when we do, it looks like it did in the first quarter, the other day. But it's hard to sustain that. It's hard to sustain that.
Anything new on Caroline or Ayanna?
Yeah, I don't anticipate Yana being back. You know, we've tried everything with her, and you know, it's a long-standing issue since high school, and everything that we've tried, she's not responded to it very well. So, and with Carol, you know, same thing. I just don't know what her situation is. But, I mean, there's a chance that both of them could be out for quite some time.
When you say you don't know if Yana will come back, you mean this year?
Yeah, for this season. I think she's got to get more work done underneath, and that would be the end of it for her. So that, you know, they're trying to exhaust all the possibilities.
You still wearing those lucky beads? That
They're not very lucky.
No.
I keep adding one, but I got to get rid of some. They're bad ones. Even my rosary isn't helping right now at all.
Do you believe that the outside shooting can be there this season for this team?
Can it be?
Yeah.
Not consistently like it would have been, you know. But it goes in spurts. You know, there are days when, you know, Ash is making her share, Q's making her share, Paige is making her share. So yeah, there are days when, yeah, it can be. And there are days when it isn't. So I don't know. We went through stretches last year where it was really hard to get a bunch of threes up. It was really hard for us. So sometimes you have to find another way to win other than just relying on that. You know?
Were Aaliyah's struggles a couple games just because the outside shooting wasn't there and people could collapse on her, or did she just not have the right mindset coming into the season?
I mean, I don't know about that. I thought, you know, what was the difference between the Texas game and some of the other games? I don't know. Except that, you know, it was the same team around her, pretty much. And, you know, it's, you know, when the when you got to work really, really hard, you know, it doesn't bode well. You know, if you got to work so hard to get shots. And I think one game, you know, there was like a 2 for 12 game or something like that, where a lot of those were 15-footers. So, you know, there's going to be games like the other night against Texas where she's dominant, and now we have to find a way to get her to have more of those games. So it's not any different than, you know, our team as a whole right now, the consistency.
How is just the team spirit and like mentality right now? I mean, this is their third year dealing with all this, especially the upperclassmen, the newcomers. This is their first time, but they've obviously heard about the past 2 years. How have you just seen the team's mental state right now?
Well, it's not ideal, you know. The 4 seniors, all they know is the bubble, playing in front of nobody, and playing shorthanded. So it does wear on you. It does wear on you, and it can, you know, mess with your mind a little bit, and it does take its toll a little bit. And you know, you can only ask so much of people to fight through certain things before it becomes a little too much. And obviously we're not there yet, but I can see that there's a, you know, there's a big difference between June and today. There were a lot of possibilities in June, and everyone knew it. And I think maybe those possibilities are fewer, and I think they know it. So, you know, it's on us as coaches to try to figure that out for going forward. But it's not easy. No, it's not easy. And you can say, well, this is the hand that we've been dealt. Well, if you keep getting dealt the same hand 3 years in a row, you go to a different table. Or you go play a different card game. Or you go to a roulette wheel. You go someplace else, but you don't stay and keep doing what, you know, what doesn't work. Unfortunately, we can't do that. Can't do that.
Is it just bad luck, or do you think there's
Well, if you think about it, what else can you attribute it to? But there's certainly an epidemic. I mean, take a look around the country and how many kids are not playing for whatever reason, you know. And some things you just have to shake your head. You know, like, what should you do? Lift more weights so Carol doesn't get hit in the head? What do you do? More conditioning drills so Dorka doesn't break her wrist? You know, Aubrey has back surgery. What are you supposed to do? So some of these things are just inexplainable in some ways.
do you talk to Hootie at all about overuse or anything, you know, what the program is, or?
No. We were in the national championship game 2 years ago, right? And as I said, when kids come here from high school and they've got issues, you try to address them as best you can. That doesn't mean you're gonna be able to address all of them. As I said, I think the unknown is what's probably the most perplexing thing. Like, you do everything right. If Paige was going to hurt her knee, it should have happened freshman year. She was too slight, too skinny, and not strong enough. Then she gets in the best shape of her life and tears her ACL. And Jenna's in the best shape she's ever been in and tears her Achilles. No, it's just, yeah, we're in a bad run right now. And maybe that's that's the price we pay for 2004 to 2016, where everything went perfectly according to plan.
Do you think maybe in men's as well as women's basketball at this age, maybe they just spend too much time on the court? Maybe they should give their body a little more of a rest during the summer? Or do you think that might be part of
I
why you
think-
see the knees and the feet?
Yeah,
And
I think what you're seeing is, according to all the experts that I talk to, is that the fact that you're playing the same sport every day, all year round, since before you were in high school, or when you got to high school, can't possibly be good for you. And everybody's told, I got to work out, I have a trainer, and, so I never give my body a chance to rest. I never give my muscles a chance to heal or anything, because you're just playing. Hell, it's never been easier to be a college basketball player. You're only allowed to practice 20 hours a week, and that includes everything. So, you think back to those days, there was no time limit on practice. Now, at the same time, there was also, you didn't have access to them in June. You didn't have access to them in September. They left school at the end of the season, and you didn't see them again until on the court playing basketball until October. So, what's the ideal situation? I don't know. Like rest, and then you say, well, they're not ready, so that's why this happens. Or let's train, let's get them ready. Well, you overtrain them. We aren't doing anything different than we did during all those years when we didn't have these. So, I don't know what the answer is. I really don't. I wish I did, but I don't. And it can't be, it's because you're not doing this or because you're doing this. Because you're doing everything that science tells you to do. So that's either good or bad, I guess.
Do you think the pandemic had any effect on that as well?
What's that?
Do you think the pandemic had any effect with sports being paused for so long?
Maybe. I mean, there's probably, a whole host of things. And you can just reach in and pull one out and go, yeah, that makes sense. But really, none of it makes sense. None of it makes sense. None of it. At all. Yeah. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Geno.